This needs to be said right off the bat. I don't have any nostalgia for Psychonauts whatsoever. I was lucky enough to get my hands on an Xbox Series X, so I decided to buy a couple months of Game Pass. I've heard from other content creators like Critical and Dunkey that Psychonauts is just an incredible game. I was thinking of hopping into Psychonauts 2 first, but I heard that the first game is great in its own right. After playing it, I can confirm that the game is just incredible, even without nostalgia or rose-tinted glasses affecting my view of it. Let's get into the great mind that is Psychonauts. The game revolves around a boy named Rasputin, or just Raz for short. He decides to crash a training camp for Psychonauts. Coach Oleander sees huge potential in Raz, so he decides to have him stay at the camp. After a good night's sleep, Raz talks to Coach Oleander in the morning, who gives Raz a chance to enter his mind. Entering minds is a huge portion of the game. It has Raz enter various minds, which will have different themes and platforming challenges. The first one here involves Raz going through a war zone, with trenches, acrobatic sections, and bombs and missiles going off. Eventually, Raz realizes that there is a weird figure that's going around the camp and stealing brains from the kids, named Dr. Lobato. He finds Lily and tells her this info before she gets eaten by a giant fish, though she wanted to make out with Raz first. Damn, Raz has way more game than I do. Raz eventually befriends the big giant fish, who will agree to give Raz a ride across the river to the insane asylum. Here, Raz will be able to enter more minds, such as a washed-out movie star, a man that thinks that he's being watched at all times, and a loser who can't win a single board game. Raz will eventually be able to save Lily, but Coach Oleander reveals himself and says that he was behind everything. Raz will battle Coach's brain in a tank. Unfortunately for Raz, he gets hit by the sneezing gas and makes the campers sneeze out their brains. Raz's brain jumps in the tank, which will get mixed with Coach's to make a final world for Raz to explore. Raz runs into his dad, who he has had trouble with in the past. After defeating the final boss and escaping the final world, the camp thanks Raz for lending a hand in solving the mystery of the kid's missing brains, and gives him a suit that declares him an official Psychonaut. The final scene leaves itself up for a sequel, which was finally fulfilled over 10 years later, with a VR-only title named Robs of Ruin. Lily's father, the head of the Psychonauts, has been captured. The adults decide to take Raz with them due to the amazing abilities he showed off during the events of this game. Raz gets another kiss from Lily before heading off. Man, this 10-year-old kid gets more action than I do. So that's the Spark Notes version of the story, as I don't want to spoil everything, but now let's move on to the gameplay. Psychonauts is a story-driven 3D platformer that revolves around Raz and the powers that he learns throughout the game. There are 8 powers total. Invisibility will make Raz, well, invisible. He will be able to sneak around people when using this. Pyrokinesis will allow Raz to set enemies on fire, as well as certain objects such as wood and hay. Confusion Bomb will have Raz throw a bomb that confuses enemies. Telekinesis will allow Raz to pick up certain objects and throw them. The shield will protect Raz for a certain amount of time. Marksmanship will involve Raz shooting psychic energy. This can be used on enemies or certain objects. Clairvoyance can be used to see how other people view Raz. If he's holding certain objects, like a crow's feather or Lily's bracelet, the range can be increased. The last ability, by far, is the most useful. Levitation. Levitation makes Raz move faster, jump higher, and he can also use it to float. In addition to this, Raz can use his 1, 2, 3 punch, as well as a ground pound to fight enemies and solve certain puzzles. There are plenty of objects to collect in the game, and some of these are just too damn clever. 5 different bags can be collected in each mind. They are called emotional baggage, which I think is just brilliant. These will all have their own unique tag they'll need to be collected first. The bags themselves are crying, which I think is just amazing. It'll play a cute little jingle that I just adore. It can be skipped, but I sat there and just listened to like nearly all of them. I only skipped them if I was in an absolute hurry. Another collectible is the Figment of Imagination, which again, I think is just brilliant. There are hundreds throughout the game, and as the player collects 100 points with them, the Sci Cadet will increase. But man, collecting all these just isn't quite worth it in my opinion. They're a really neat idea, and they tie into the theme of the game and each level super well, but that doesn't mean I'm going to collect them all. There are also mental cobwebs that can be sucked up with the cobweb duster and taken back to Mr. Crawler's lair. The return are Sci Cards, which can also be found in the overworld. When 9 of these are collected, the player can combine them with the Sci Core to create a Sci Challenge marker. The Sci Challenge markers can also be found in the overworld as well, and will enhance Raz's Sci Cadet rank by 1. Going back to the emotional baggage, when all 5 of them are found in one world, the player's Sci rank will go up by 1 as well. So a lot of collectibles go toward the Sci Cadet rank, but what does that actually do? At rank 10, 20, and 30, Pyrokinesis telekinesis and invisibility will be unlocked, respectively. All of Raz's Psi abilities will receive upgrades throughout the game as he levels up, making it worthwhile picking up at least most of these things. At rank 50, levitation will do damage if Raz picks up speed, and at rank 75, the levitation ball will do damage even at low speeds. At rank 70, the Psi Blast will chain up to 6 targets. At rank 90, Raz will regenerate health over time. At rank 95, Raz will have unlimited ammo for his Psi Blast. Things get pretty nuts at the end. When a Psi rank of 100 is earned, a special cutscene will unlock, which is pretty cute that I have to admit. If one wants to see the cutscene though, a trip to YouTube will do just fine. There's actually a hidden Psi level in Coach Oleander's brain near the beginning of the game, so a rank of 101 is possible. It involves punching these damn targets. But here's the thing though. I guess I'll get a bit negative here. I love the game to pieces and I want it to stay that way, so I try to turn off my completionist mind. That did not work, by the way. Going after most of the collectibles is great fun, it truly is, but those damn figments of imagination can get frustrating. The pure amount of them puts me off a bit, but it's not even just that. The locations and movement patterns of these damn things are whack. Some will be clipping in and out of the level. Some are seemingly suicide ones, meaning that like jumping off the edge and wasting like part of your brain is the only way to grab them. Oddly, Waterloo World is the world that has the most figments, clocking in at a stunning 243, and that's actually one of the levels that I completed all figments. But it came to a damn crawl at the end, and I was at the point where I was starting to lose my patience with the game. Of course, if one is just playing casually, this is a literal non-issue. Even without going super try-hard, I beat the final boss with a rank above 85. I came shy of the regeneration, but I still felt pretty overpowered by the time I reached the final boss anyways. I guess it also doesn't help that the Big Daddy 100% completion award is a simple clip that can be found on YouTube. I guess it's more about the adventure though than the destination. As Psychonauts is an old 3D platformer, there's absolutely some jank in here. Sometimes Raz would not hold on to swinging bars. Sometimes odd collisions would just kind of happen. There'd be times where I was too high and I just kind of died for it. The tight ropes are kind of weird too, since Raz insists on holding on to them first. This can make it super frustrating if one is under fire. There's nothing you can do except for take hits. I like to play older 3D platformers though, like the amazing Super Mario 64, so while it doesn't bother me like too much, it'll make plenty of people just drop the game altogether. The power balance is also a bit off, as some of the powers like the Confusion Bomb and Shield are needed like only a couple of times throughout the entire game. Meanwhile, ones like Levitation, Marksmanship, and even Telekinesis are used so much throughout the game. Having to swap between these though a decent bit is just so annoying. However, now that I said that out loud, if every power was balanced to be used equally, you would have to be switching through powers even more than now. Maybe I just can't be pleased. The last big negative that I can think of, and this very well may just be like a me problem, is the fact that there is a point of no return. Especially in a collectathon type game like this, that encourages you to collect everything. I wanted a taste of all the worlds, then go back and complete them all later when I have new abilities. It should be noted that all the minds can still be entered through the collective unconsciousness, so this is only an issue if one has not completed everything in the real world portion of the game. However, I screwed up greatly. I went back and got all figments in the earlier worlds, then tried to go back and do that in Meat Circus, just to find out that I am stuck at the boss in the Meat Circus. I can't go back to the first part of the Meat Circus, and I've tried various things, such as the Lungfishopolis skip to return to the camp and climb the asylum again, dying to see where the game would spawn me, and just entering the world from the collective unconsciousness a couple of times. Nothing. I did the challenge in Coach Oleander's brain to get the Psi rank to 100, so I was able to unlock the cutscene, but knowing there is a rank 101 and not being able to reach it due to stupid bullshit made this whole experience a bit hollow to me. I spent a good 3 to 4 hours doing cleanup work in previous worlds, and I don't want to do that again. There really should have been a second point of no return warning. I'm probably more mad about this than I should be, but to get just so close to 100% and not make it is annoying. I guess I'll have to keep that in mind for my Steam and PS4 runs, which will inevitably happen. Honestly, that's really most of the negatives though. It's straight praise from here. When I was talking about the collectibles, I deliberately left out 2 of them. The first one is a Pulchable Vault, and these are fantastic. These will give Raz little slides that will have illustrations of what the character has gone through to get to their current state. One of the Milkman's ones is just so goddamn brutal. After getting fired from the police station, he did something that any sane man would do. Return and tried to burn it down. Okay then, another brutally dark one is Mia's children. They all died in a house fire, which could be further examined if one enters a chest in Mia's dream. She says that she has her nightmares under control, but this is still horrifying. Another neat collectible are the brains in a jar. There are 19 that Raz can collect. When he collects one, he will say a unique quote and kiss them before shoving them in his backpack. God, this game is so weird. When a brain is taken back to Agent Cr1tikal, a health point will be added to Raz's health, or a quarter of a brain. This means that you'll be pretty stacked by the end of the game if you've retrieved all the brains, which really aren't hard to find. There will also be short cutscenes of Raz talking to each kid, and these are so neat. Power-ups for ammo and mental lives are also scattered throughout the game. We gotta hop into some of the characters, as Psychonauts is chock full of great characters. We can start with our protagonist, Rasputin. I love how they explain his amazing gymnastic ability by explaining that he had grown up in a circus. They also explain why Raz can't swim. A rival circus squad places a curse on Rasputin's whole family that makes a hand appear in the water. This hand can only be seen by them, and it will pull them underwater. Overall, Raz is just a smart-ass kid, which I very much enjoy. I also like his relationship with Lily, which kind of went from 0 to 100 pretty quickly. She was like, alright, Raz is kind of cute too.
Let's make out! What?
The dynamic of these two is cute, but I think that she should have had a bit more screen time. Like the rest of the kids, they kind of just disappear halfway through the game, although this does make sense, like with the game's plot, as Lobato has stolen their brains by this point.
Shut up!
For Cr1tikal, though, he might have to be my favorite character. Due to his teleportation abilities, he appears all over the map in his alter egos. At one moment, he is a ranger that is managing the scavenger hunt. At another moment, he is a janitor who is trying to keep the campgrounds clean. At another moment, he is an admiral that is talking to his ore boat. He even runs the shop as the chef alter ego. He can also be found in his lab, where he will help Rasputin by letting him have access to his machinery. Raz can return kids' brains, turn in cobwebs, and create side challenge markers. Raz carries a piece of bacon, which can be used to activate Cr1tikal. Cr1tikal can give Rasputin information on how to proceed, how to kill enemies, change his levitation color, and teleport him back to the lab. This is a very helpful feature that I used many times throughout the game when I was stumped. His character is just so amazing and beaming. I love it. Some of the campers are really fun as well. If one just rushes through the game and doesn't want to talk to them, they can absolutely seem generic. Just taking a quick browse through the Steam achievements and PlayStation trophies, there are plenty of dialogues that I missed. To my understanding, basically any time a major event is triggered during the story, the kids move around the camp and do different things, which I just think is fascinating. Take Dogen, for example. This guy's such a nitwit and I love it. At the beginning of the game, he talks to squirrels who try to convince him to burn people. Then there's Bobby, who is a bully that doesn't look all that great. He throws out threats to, throughout the game to beat Raz up and hangs out with Big Ear Dumbo here. Elton is such a funny character too. He has such a weird voice along with weird mannerisms. He gets to kiss a girl down by the docks though, so good for him. Admittedly, I wish I would have slowed down a bit to talk to kids more to get more interactions. There's something about that though that's just a lot of fun, and I'm gonna have to make sure to do that during my next playthrough. Alright, the last thing I want to jump into before we get into these worlds is the game's humor. I just love the humor. It's on point for a degenerate like me. Like, this line here is just classic. It may not be everyone's cup of tea, I mean, Tim Schafer never really is, but it is mine, damn it. I love this shit.
Get it? You're using clairvoyance. You grabbed one of the squirrel's nuts, and now you're using clairvoyance on it to form a mental link and see what the squirrel sees.
Could you say acorns instead of nuts if you repeat that to anybody else?
Alright, now it's time to jump into these worlds, as some of them are just so damn clever. My personal favorite, if I had to pick one, I think it'd be Waterloo World. I like when video games mess with a character's scale. One reason why I love Pikmin is because the Pikmin are as small as ants. That's why it takes several of them to do anything. Waterloo World revolves around Fred Bonaparte's mind. Fred is a loser, and for the life of him can't win a damn board game against Napoleon. Raz takes it upon himself to help Fred win by hopping down to the board game and shrinking down. Raz can explore the board freely, but he can also shrink down even further by interacting with a building. Raz can grow bigger size by hitting the champagne corks around the map that will reveal air bubbles that he can ride with his levitation ability. Raz can grow back to his normal size by climbing out of the board game. I think that this map is just too damn clever. The objective is to recruit peasants to help Fred win the game. For example, this one peasant wants to get paid for his service, so Raz must go back to his normal size and use telekinesis on a coin that Fred was trying to melt in his fireplace. Another peasant wants some sort of confirmation from Fred that he actually cares about his troops. Raz must again head out of the board and talk to Fred to obtain a note to give to the peasant. The third and final peasant can be obtained by having another peasant knock out an opposing soldier outside their house. There is also a giant knight, who must be used to take over the opposing castle and win the game. theme. He needs the energy to take over the castle, so Raz will need to give him snails to eat, and he can't fight other peasants because that will weaken him. There's also the carpenter, who will ask Raz to take care of burglars on his roof. After doing so, the carpenter will become a game piece that can fix broken bridges, so Raz can toss pieces across. Raz can move pieces around the board using telekinesis. When the knight is thrown onto the castle space, Fred wins the game. Another world that I enjoy, which I found that a lot of people actually don't enjoy too much, is the Lungfishopolis, which is the mind of Linda, the giant mutated fish monster. The theme of Raz being a giant towering over the city is just fun. This comes with the annoyance of a slower moveset though. Levitation also can't be used here, which is a bit annoying, really won't lie. But damn man, being able to punch buildings down and demolish them may be worth it. It is also hilarious stepping on the fish people and looking at their poor flattened bodies. The news reports that pop up throughout the level are also hilarious. It could be argued that these can ruin the pacing a bit, but it's a hard complaint, because these are skippable after all. Eventually, the city of Lungfishopolis deploys helicopters to take care of Raz, or Goggalor as the fish people call him. At the end of the level, Raz will have to fight Coach Amara, an alter ego of Coach Oleander who harasses Lungfishopolis. The theme of the level is honestly just genius. Everyone looks at Raz as this giant-ass monster thing that eats people because that's how everyone views Linda. Linda doesn't appreciate being viewed this way. It's not like she asked to be mutated. It is shown through her personal vault that Lobato mutated her. She wants to be viewed as a gentle giant. Raz understands this phenomenon once the world has been completed. Once Raz completes the world, Raz will be able to use her to fast travel across the lake to the asylum. Another world that is just brilliant is the Milkman Conspiracy, of course. This deals with so many interesting ideas and themes. I like the theme of always being watched. As Raz is traveling throughout the world, cameras will pop out of bushes, flamingos, fire hydrants, and other objects. Boyd Cooper refuses to leave his house due to the fear that he will always be watched. What about the little Girl Scouts? I wasted so much time talking to them, seeing if they had an in-game purpose. But that's the thing, they don't have an in-game purpose. They'll follow Raz around, which further pushes the idea that everyone is watching you. Raz was pick up a stop sign to blend in with the road crew and be able to move on the level. This is another neat thing that the level does. It deals with filling in roles. Later in the level, he'll need a watering can to blend in with the planters. Raz will also need a flower so he can enter the cemetery to blend in with people mourning the dead. It is just so goddamn brilliant, and I love it. The layout of this level is also very weird, as there are numerous twists and turns. Nothing is straightforward. And there's the weird portion near the end that has the kid with a sniper rifle trying to shoot Raz. I like the part earlier in the level that cleverly uses clairvoyance. Raz must use it on a security guard that punches in the code to get in the post office. Re-entering this world after completion is just a treat. The Milkman will be tossing milk bottles on fire at enemies. I guess the only true negative about this mine is that you need the cobweb duster. The game will tell you that before you entered, but since I'm a dumb piece of shit, I tried to go try hard on the world without it. Grinding for it can be a bit annoying as it's 800 arrowheads, and it can slow down the game a bit, but once you find the right grinding method, it's really not that bad. This is easily one of the best worlds of the game, both gameplay-wise and theme-wise. One world that just rocks thematically is Black Velvetopia World. Although there are some gameplay annoyances here, one thing that I didn't know is that Raz can use the confusion grenades to stop the bull in his tracks. That would have been immensely useful. It can also be kind of annoying trying to get around in this level with that bull just running around. Everything else about it is just so lovely though. The 4 fights to get the queen cards, the fact that Raz has to buy these paintings from the dogs, which is a beautiful reference to the dogs playing poker painting. Raz can buy paintings that will do different things when placed on the wall. A rose painting will give Raz a rose so that he can get inside of windows that have ladies in them. Raz, you sly dog. Other paintings include a guitar that will act as a ladder, vines that Raz can climb, and a window that can either teleport Raz or have some figments inside. Raz learns Confusion Bomb here, and it's like the only place in the game where it's really needed. The most important thing about this world, though, is the fact that it shows that Psychonauts has titty jiggle physics. Psychonauts may be the best game of all time now. How can I forget Coach Oleanders Mind? I love the idea of an obstacle course that was designed by a war nut, even if he has never been to war himself. It is a great beginner's level, as Raz practices a bunch of basic actions and it makes sense thematically. Actions like jumping from tight ropes, jumping on trampolines, trapeze swinging things, and grinding sections. There is also a tricky platforming section that all amount to it being a great beginner's level. I love how the first time here, Alden just charges forward and gets blown to smithereens. That part gave me a good laugh. There is also this punching minigame, which is fun enough, I guess. If Raz can complete this 5 times, he will be awarded an extra Sci rank. This is nice because I screwed up with the Meat Circus, as I mentioned earlier, which unlocked the Sci rank away. So this is a nice way for me to still get 100 and unlock that cutscene, so I'm a fan. There's also Glorias World, which involves Raz setting up a play. This world can get pretty complicated and confusing though. Raz can switch the feel of the play by hitting the mood machine, which will either make the play happy or sad. During the sad portions of the play, the performers will try to hurt Rasputin as he goes by. Raz will have to talk to Jasper, an ass-face that says that this play is horrible. He will give Raz a new script, which can be used to affect the play in different ways. Raz will have to find the right combination of mood and additional scripts to move the play along. After finding the right combination of plays a couple of times, Raz will be able to enter the catwalks. He will eventually be able to fight off against Jasper. Due to the nature of the stage, I can see this one annoying a lot of people. There's a decent bit of trial and error. Watching the characters poorly deliver their lines was funny the first time, but it can get tiresome by, the fifth time? Bonita Sololi, the inner muse of Gloria von Guten, also has just a hilarious voice that I was not expecting.
Can't you see I'm trying to have a moment here?
Sorry, I was looking for
You mean the personal muse of Gloria von Guten? Her inner sunshine?
the spirit of her.
That's me.
The smaller worlds are still great fun. Sasha's shooting gallery is a perfect uniform cube that at first doesn't seem too exciting. However, Sasha puts a lever in the world that can increase the number of sensors for target practice. Raz, of course, pushes the lever too hard, revealing platforming sections on 5 sides of the cube. After shooting all of the targets, a mega sensor will pop up and try to crush Raz. But Sasha takes the hit and gets squished. This stage is mostly used to get used to the marksmanship ability. Mia's dance party is another fun short level and is mostly used to get used to the levitation ability. Just jumping and floating everywhere is pretty fun. There's a race at the end of that is all good fun too, unless if one wants to get all the figments here. Then it's pain. It also has that disturbing chest of nightmares that I mentioned earlier. The Brain Tumbler experiment is kinda meh, gameplay-wise, but the amount of foreshadowing here is just insane. The world itself is a mix of Rasputin and Coach Oleander's Psych that involves Raz chasing a bunny, kinda like in the Meat Circus. Speaking of the Meat Circus, there is meat sprinkled throughout the level. Raz finds blueprints for a brain tank, which is one of the final boss fights. There are thorns scattered throughout the level that could symbolize the Thorny Towers, which is the insane asylum. There are 4 figments, one each shaped like a purple bowl, a Napoleonic hat, a basket of bottles, and a large thistle, which all correspond to different minds that are in the insane asylum. This is where Raz finds Dr. Lobato for the first time, stealing Dogen's brain. This was a world that I wasn't going to expand much upon at first due to its just okay gameplay, but as I went back to it to try to 100% the game, as well as just double checking myself using the wiki, this world suddenly became mind-blowing and just really cool to me. Then we have the Meat Circus. Oh dear God, what hasn't already been said about the Meat Circus? I love the idea of the 2 minds of Raz and Coach Oleander mixing, combining their worst fears. However, this makes for an annoying level. I mean, who doesn't like an escort mission with annoying dipshit that won't stop talking in an annoyingly high-pitched voice? When this was first released, apparently it was way too hard, enough so that the team had to patch it and lower its difficulty. It's not controller breaking hard or anything, but I was definitely shouting profanities at my monitor when I was playing. The escort mission is just brutal. These damn knife-throwing douchebags keep throwing knives at Raz as he's trying to walk in these tight ropes and jump across everything. There's also a grinding section toward the end that is quite difficult and took me a few tries. It has quite a few boss fights too. The first one involves Raz attacking a butcher, which is how Oleander views his dad. Raz must dodge his cleaver-based attacks and hit him 3 times. After that fight, Raz comes across on how he views his dad, who tries to drown him. Raz must outpace the rising water by using a combination of his acrobat and psychic abilities. After making it to the top, he accuses Raz of cheating. Raz's dad has a word with Oleander's dad, and they work together to try to take out Raz. After Raz gives him a good old beatdown, Raz's father reveals himself and is disappointed that Raz views him this way. Finally, Raz's view of his dad combines with Oleander's view of his dad, create this creepy-ass dad thing. Raz's father gives Raz the assistant needed to fight it. The final fight isn't necessarily hard, but I still like it because it makes for an epic finish. Using his dad's powers, Raz can temporarily grow big and use punches to damage the dad combo. As the power goes away, Raz will have to dodge attacks to gain the power back. Raz eventually beats the dad combo and escapes the mind with his dad. Traveling through the mines is, of course, cool. But do you want to know what else is cool? The Whispering Rock, which is the hub world itself. It's not too enormous or anything, but it is jam-packed with collectibles. Dense is the right word to use here. There's so many twists and turns. It's just kind of weird, man. It also includes a pretty dang robust fast traveling system, which is nice. I love how all these secrets that this hub world holds. If one is looking to 100% the game, they're going to spend a decent amount of time here collecting everything. I love the Scavenger Hunt, which has 16 items sprinkled across the Whispering Rock. Raz will have to learn all of his psychic powers before being able to complete it. For example, he need to use his shield ability to block the water coming out of this geyser to free the skull. The turkey sandwich requires Raz to use his pyrokinesis on a block of ice. Raz will need to use his invisibility to steal a golden acorn from a squirrel. There's also a glass eye that is stuck behind a grate that Raz will need to use his telekinesis on. Rasputin collects 8 items. Ford will increase his Psy Cadet rank by 4. If Raz completes the scavenger hunt, Ford will give him 4 additional Psy Cadet levels. The scavenger hunt, along with the optional camper dialogues, are great excuses to search Whispering Rock extensively. Did I mention that there are also Psy Bears and Wolves here? Speaking of the Whispering Rock, remember how I said that Ford runs a shop here? Throughout the game, Rasputin will pick up arrowheads, which can be used to buy certain things from Ford to help Raz out on his adventure. The selection isn't too huge, and there are only 6 things to buy. The Cobweb Duster is 800 arrowheads, which is the most expensive item in the game. It can be used to clean up mental cobwebs. The Dowsing Rod is only 50 arrowheads, and it can be used to find giant clumps of arrowheads in the ground for quick grinding. The Dream Fluff is 50 arrowheads and will fully restore Rasputin's mental health automatically if it gets too low. The Mental Magnet is a psychic power that costs 400 arrowheads and will attract nearby mental objects such as health, ammo, grenades, and arrowheads. This is very useful because they hopped around in weird patterns before. A Sci Core can be bought for 10 arrowheads, and when combined with 9 Sci Cards, it can be turned into a Sci Challenge marker, which again will improve Rasputin's Psy Cadet rank by 1. Lastly, the Sci Energy Colorizer will allow Raz to change his levitation color. I'm more of a green man myself. Arrowheads are used at some other points in the adventure too, like in Black Velvetopia, the dog's paintings can be bought with arrowheads. I got this far without even mentioning combat because there just simply isn't much to it. The game is kind of like, say, Banjo-Kazooie or Super Mario 64, and the fact that standard combat is just kind of there, it gives a player something to do in between going from point A to point B. It's not bad per se, but I honestly just find myself using Rasputin's Basic Punch if I was a bit too close, or Psy Blast if I was a bit too far away. Other powers like Telekinesis and Pyrokinesis can be occasionally useful, but I didn't use them much in a fighting sense. If Raz loses all of his health, he'll lose 1 projection layer. If he loses all of his projection layers, he'll be kicked out of the world that he was in. If he loses all his projection layers in the real world, he will still be teleported to a new location for whatever reason. Also, the music kicks ass in this game. When I was detailing each world, I had the music for it playing in the background. There isn't too much to say other than the music of each world encapsulates its feel, and it just rocks. I like the subtle theme that plays when Raz enters mines. Before I wrap this all up, one important question must be answered. Where can one play Psychonauts? With the exception of the Switch, it can be played on all modern-day devices. Man, the Switch misses out on another classic. Realistically, the best version is anything on PC really. Steam, GOG, Windows, whatever you want. Because it's playable in full screen, achievements are kept intact, and it can be played at 60 FPS. I played the original Xbox version on Game Pass, which was on my Series X, which unfortunately didn't have achievements, widescreen support, and ran at only 30 frames per second. It was still a blast to play, of course, but part of me thinks that I should have just played on Steam to begin with. I would recommend the Xbox version of 1 doesn't have a PC, as it's still a good version. It may only be 30 frames, but it's a solid 30 frames. There really aren't many graphical issues. All in all, good version. However, though, I would only recommend the PS2 version out of necessity only, which was released for PS4 and by extension can be played on the PS5 via backwards compatibility. This is because it's based on the PS2 version, which has frame rate issues, as well as shading issues. I guess if one doesn't have an Xbox or PC at their disposal, the PS2 version is still certainly playable, and it doesn't change the fact that Psychonauts is still an incredible game. At least it still has those nice trophies. It even has the Platinum Trophy? Damn, I'm almost wanting to play through this now on my PS4, just to get another Platinum Trophy to add to the collection. I want to put a spotlight on this real quick. Screw you, Nintendo. You see, Psychonauts was a huge commercial failure when it was initially released. It was one of the reasons why its publisher, Majesco Entertainment, stepped out of the video game market altogether. However, since porting it on Steam and other digital platforms, sales skyrocketed. The game sold about 400,000 units at retail, but sold over 2 million copies on Steam alone. There isn't much conversation on how to emulate the game, because frankly, there's just no need to. One is a PC, it's purchasable. One is a PS5, it's purchasable. One is an Xbox Series machine, it's purchasable. It's available on all these devices at only $10, at least here in America, and it goes on sale pretty frequently. Why Nintendo and other companies encourage emulation by not letting the fans buy their games on current hardware, then bitch up and down about it, it's just beyond me. Psychonauts going from a huge failure to being successful enough to warrant a sequel and a VR spin-off is, well, heartwarming. I really would like to see a similar success story with something like Chibi Robo, for example, but I'm not holding my breath. To play a legitimate copy of Chibi Robo, we'll only need to buy a pricey copy of the game, which is like, what, $100+ at this point? A GameCube or a Wii, at least one GameCube controller, and a memory card. Of course people are going to emulate it, but with Psychonauts, throwing down $10 is easily worth the hassle of trying to find what emulator to use, a ROM to find, trying to get my controller to work with my PC. It's just so pro-consumer, it's insane. That is Psychonauts, and I really do want to reiterate again here, I did not play this game as a kid. There is literally zero nostalgia going on here. I really just became interested in this franchise because Psychonauts 2 was recently released, Psychonauts 1 came to Game Pass, and I bought an Xbox Series X. Like seriously, you go back like 2 months ago, I barely knew Psychonauts existed. The stars aligned for me to try this game out, and I'm just obsessed with this damn franchise now. I consistently Google stuff about it, like double check lore details. Did I get this right? I bought it for PS4 just because, well, I can, and it was on sale, which was nice. And even with Game Pass, I'm probably going to throw down $60 for Psychonauts 2 on Steam because I want this to succeed. I also got to get my hands on that VR game, Rhombus of Ruin. I haven't been this much into a video game universe since like Pikmin, Mario, Smash Bros, Digimon, some of my favorite franchises ever. That is how much I love the original Psychonauts. It is a game that is packed to the brim with charm, fun gameplay, funny characters, awesome music, and neat collectibles. Yes, there are some hiccups here and there, such as the annoying point of no return, some occasional old 3D platforming jank, but that's just not enough for me to knock the score down. If it hasn't been uber obvious, I adored my time with Psychonauts, and I will give it a full, fat 7 out of 7. I miss when games were weird and unique like this. So many games just play it safe and blend together nowadays.